Summer has its own financial rhythm, and it's usually chaos dressed up as fun. It's spontaneous, it's busy, and it's almost always more expensive than what we expect or plan for. Whether it's a week at the beach, a long weekend getaway, or even just day trips, vacations never, and I mean never, cost what you originally budgeted. You start to regret those amazing outings and activities that only made you and your family or your friends closer. Stop right there. I need you to hear this. This pattern is completely normal. You are not a failure at budgeting. You are not reckless or irresponsible. You're human. Welcome to Everyone's Talking Money, where we get brutally honest about money, mindset, and making life richer. Summer was fun. Vacations, camps, eating out a little too much. But now your bank account is saying enough already. In today's episode, I'm sharing how to reset your money routine after summer so you can start fall feeling financially confident. It is the unofficial end of summer. The mornings are starting to have that slight chill. School buses are filling the streets, and you may already be eyeing those first pumpkin spice offerings. But here's my question. Is your bank account ready for fall and the holiday season that's racing towards us? This September, we're launching something special. Our Back to School, Back to Budget mini-series. Just like the kids are heading back to structured routines, it's time for us adults to get our money routines back in fighting shape too. Now, I've got a personal question for you, and I want you to be honest. Does your bank account look like it's suffering from a summer hangover? You know exactly what I mean. The kind of hangover that has nothing to do with margaritas and everything to do with beach trips, summer camps, spontaneous ice cream stops, endless Target runs for just one thing, and that dangerous, I deserve it, it's summer mindset that somehow justified every purchase from June through August. If you're nodding along, maybe even laughing because this hit so close to home, you're definitely in the right place. Today, we're talking about how to reset your money routine after summer so you can start the fall feeling financially confident instead of stressed, guilty, or like you're already behind before the year even ends. Let's start with some truth telling, because I believe in getting real about money. Summer has its own financial rhythm, and it's usually chaos dressed up as fun. It's spontaneous, it's busy, and it's almost always more expensive than what we expect or plan for. Let me paint you a picture of summer spending that I bet sounds familiar. Whether it's a week at the beach, a long weekend getaway, or even just day trips, vacations never, and I mean never, cost what you originally budgeted. There's always oh, let's just grab dinner out tonight instead of eating the sandwich in the hotel room nights. There are the overpriced souvenirs that somehow seem reasonable when you're in vacation mode. The extra Uber rides because no one wants to figure out public transportation. We're making memories purchases that add up faster than you can say, put it on the credit card. What about summer camps and activities? Parents, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. Summer camps are absolute lifesavers for working parents, but they're also budget destroyers. It's not just the camp fee, which, by the way, we all know we don't pay that in the summer. We pay this camp fee in January and February when we're actually signing up for the camps. But it's also the snacks, the special gear, the field trip money, the extra clothes, because somehow everything gets lost or destroyed. And add it all up and you're suddenly out few $100s more than what you planned for each kid. Or let's talk about the eating out explosion. Long summer nights mean we're just not in the kitchen as much. And who wants to be when the weather's beautiful outside? Hello, pizza delivery because it's too hot to cook. Hello, ice cream runs that become family traditions. $7 iced lattes because it's too hot to make coffee at home, even though you have a perfectly good coffee maker sitting on your counter. It all adds up, but in the moment, it's perfectly justifiable. Or the activity creep. Summer activities multiply like rabbits. It starts with one festival, one concert, one day at the amusement park. But then there's another one, and suddenly you've spent more on summer activities than some people spend on car payments. And also shopping just for the fun of it. Summer shopping just hits differently. It's not just back to school shopping. It's vacation clothes, summer gear, outdoor equipment that you've convinced yourself you're going to use all the time. And those impulse purchases that happen when you're relaxed and the living is easy. Now, here's what I want you to understand. These things aren't inherently bad. They create memories. They help families bond. They keep parents sane during long summer breaks. They make you feel like you're enjoying this beautiful weather and the summer break. They're part of living life fully. But here's what's also true. When September rolls around, many of us realize the spending got more than a little out of control. When we look at our bank accounts or credit card statements and think, how did this happen? How did my balance get this big? Or where did all this money go? And then, this is the dangerous part. We start the shame spiral. I'm terrible with money. I have no self-control. I'll never get my finances together. Or even worse, you start to regret those amazing outings and activities that only made you and your family or your friends closer. Stop right there. I need you to hear this. This pattern is completely normal. You are not a failure at budgeting. You are not reckless or irresponsible. You're human, and humans have seasonal spending patterns. Just like kids don't stay up until midnight watching movies once school starts, your money doesn't need to stay in summer mode either. What you need isn't judgment, it's a reset. And I'm giving you the reset. Here's something I've learned after years of helping people with their finances. Routines don't restrict you. They actually create freedom and confidence. Think about how school routines work for kids. Or think about when you were a kid and you started school again. Yeah, not being able to stay up late and getting up early stunk, but you also knew what to expect every day. You knew what days you had art or gym. You knew what you were going to have packed for you for lunch. Kids thrive when they know the schedule. Wake up, breakfast, bus stop, classes, lunch, more classes, after school activities, homework, dinner, bedtime. Now, does this mean they love every single part of the day? No, of course not. But that predictability, that structure helps them feel secure. They know what to expect, and more importantly, they know what's expected of them. The exact same principle applies to your money. And this is where most people get it wrong. They think budgets and financial routines are about restriction and saying no to everything fun. But actually, good money routines give you permission to spend and enjoy your money because you're doing it intentionally within a framework that protects your bigger financial goals. When you have a solid money routine, you're not waking up every day with that low-level financial anxiety wondering, can I afford this coffee? Should I really be spending money here? Did I forget to pay that bill? Am I going to have enough money for rent? Instead, you have a rhythm. You know what money is coming in. You know what needs to go out for essentials. And you know what you can spend on the fun stuff. And you also know what you're saving for the future. And here's the real magic. Financial confidence doesn't come from having $1 million in your bank account. It comes from having a plan you trust and trusting yourself to follow that plan, even when it's not perfect. I see this all the time with my clients. The ones who feel most confident about their money aren't necessarily the ones making the most money. They're the ones who have systems and routines that work for their life. So if you've been living in financial chaos mode this summer, making decisions on the fly, spending without much thought, avoiding looking at your statements, the best thing you can do for yourself is re-establish a money routine. Not a perfect one that looks like it came out of a personal finance textbook, not a fancy one with 17 different savings accounts and color-coded spreadsheets, just a simple, steady rhythm that fits your real life. This is going to be especially important as we head into the fall because guess what's coming? Back to school expenses, Halloween, Thanksgiving travel, and then the holiday spending season. Without a routine in place now, you're going to feel like you're constantly playing catch up with your money instead of being intentional about how you use it. All right, let's get practical. How exactly do you reset your money routine after summer? I've got 5 concrete steps you can take this week. And I mean this week, not someday when you have more time or motivation, but right now. Step 1, the August statement reality check. Pull up your bank statement and your credit card statements for August right now. If you're driving, do this as soon as you get where you're going. If you're at home, pause this episode and go get your statements pulled up on your phone or computer. I want you to scan through them. But here's the thing. You're looking for awareness, not ammunition to beat yourself up. This is data collection, not judgment day. What surprised you as you scrolled through? Was it the sheer number of small transactions you forgot about? Was it seeing certain subscription services that you completely forgot you were paying for? Was it realizing that those just this once dinners actually happened 5 or 6 times this month? Write down, actually physically write down, pen to paper, the top 3 spending categories that went over what you would have preferred to spend. Maybe it was dining out. Maybe it was entertainment. Maybe it was shopping. Whatever it was, just note it. Don't harp on it. Step 2, the 1 cut challenge. We all have them. Those recurring expenses that seem like a good idea at the time, but aren't actually adding value to our lives anymore. I'm talking subscription services, memberships, automatic charges that we've gotten used to just ignoring. I'm guilty of it myself. Late at night, I'm doom scrolling and I get an Instagram ad for this app that tells me what colors I should be wearing and then curates outfits for me every month. $20 later, I learned what colors I should be wearing, but do I really need to be spending $20 for outfit suggestions every month? I don't think so. Your challenge this week is to cancel exactly 1 recurring expense, just 1. And it doesn't have to be the biggest one or the most obvious one. Maybe it's the streaming service you signed up for just to watch one specific show that everyone was talking about, and then you forgot about it. Maybe it's the gym membership you haven't used since June because you've been doing outdoor activities instead. And it turns out you like exercising outdoors a whole lot better. Maybe it's the premium version of an app that you could easily use the free version of. The point isn't to become a monk who owns nothing. The point is to free up some money immediately and give yourself a confidence boost that says, I can make intentional decisions about my money. Step 3, create your September budget, but it has to be realistic. I want you to create a budget for September, but I need you to hear me on this. This is not about creating the perfect budget that you'll use for the rest of your life. This is about creating a budget for September and September only. Think of it as a syllabus for the month, not a contract written in blood. Here's how to make it realistic. Start with your take-home pay for September. Then subtract your fixed expenses, rent or mortgage, utilities, insurance, minimum debt payments, groceries. What's left over is your discretionary money. Now, here's where most people go wrong. They try to allocate every single dollar to savings or debt repayment, and then that leaves themselves with almost nothing for fun or unexpected expenses. Don't do this. You'll just end up overspending and then feel guilty about it. Instead, be honest about your life. If you typically spend $200 a month eating out, don't budget $50 and hope for the best. Maybe budget $150 and challenge yourself to be more intentional about it. But don't set yourself up for failure. The goal isn't to punish yourself for summer spending. The goal is to redirect your money more intentionally going forward. Step 4, set up your fall financial containers. This is where we start thinking beyond just September. I want you to create what I call financial containers for the fall season. These are specific amounts of money set aside for predictable upcoming expenses. Create a container for back to school expenses if you have kids. The PTO memberships, the donating to the classroom funds for activities, all of that stuff that no one ever plans on. It just comes up, but it comes up every single year. Create a container for holiday gifts and entertaining. Create a container for winter clothing and seasonal maintenance. Create a container for Thanksgiving travel if you happen to travel during the busiest travel time of the year. You don't need to separate bank accounts for all of these. You can just keep track of them on paper or in a simple spreadsheet. The point is to acknowledge that these expenses are coming up and start preparing for them now instead of being surprised by them later. Step 5, choose your money check-in day. Finally, pick one day a week, the same day every week, where you'll spend 15 minutes checking in with your money. Look at your account balances, review your recent transactions, and adjust your spending for the rest of the week if needed. This isn't about micromanaging every dollar. This isn't about guilting you in the purchases you have made. It's about staying connected to your money so you don't get to the end of the month wondering where it all went. Most people avoid looking at their money when they're worried about it, but that just makes things worse. Regular check-ins keep small issues from becoming big problems. Now let's talk about the mindset shift that changes everything. Before we wrap up today's reset plan, we need to talk the mental game because this is where most people get stuck. I know some of you are listening and thinking, I really blew it this summer. I don't know how I'm going to dig myself out of this hole. I should have been more careful. I should have had more self-control. Here's what I need you to understand. Guilt keeps you stuck. Grace moves you forward. Instead of beating yourself up for overspending, I want you to reframe the story you're telling yourself. You didn't blow it. You invested in experiences. You didn't lack self-control. You prioritized living life and making memories during a season that's meant for that. I mean, honestly, did you have fun this summer? When someone says, "How was your summer?" do you say great and really mean it? That's worth something. Now you're making the choice to reset and be more intentional going forward. That's something to be proud of, not ashamed of. Think of it like getting back into a workout routine after vacation. You don't spend hours berating yourself for missing workouts while you were traveling. You lace up your sneakers and start again. The same principle applies to your money. Lace up and start again. This mindset shift is crucial because shame makes you want to avoid dealing with money altogether. But what you need right now is engagement, not perfect engagement, just consistent engagement. Your summer spending is done. You can't change it. And honestly, you probably don't want to erase all of those memories, even if you could. What you can control is what happens next. Now, what's coming in the next few weeks of this series? Today was all about the reset, getting your feet under you again after summer and establishing some basic routines. But this is just part 1 of our back to school, back to budget series. I got a whole lot more information for you. Next week in episode 2, we're diving deep into your fall financial health checkup. I'll walk you through exactly how to assess your cash flow, review your savings progress, tackle any debt that might have accumulated over the summer, and identify those sneaky money leaks that can derail even the best intentions. In episode 3, we'll talk about preparing financially for the holiday season, and I don't just mean Christmas gifts. We'll cover everything from Thanksgiving travel to year-end charitable giving to January's credit card bills. And in our final episode of this series, episode 4, we'll create your winter financial strategy so you can finish this year strong and set yourself up for an amazing 2026. Each episode builds on the last, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any part of this transformation. So let's recap your action items for this week, because knowledge without action is just entertainment. First, Review your August statements for awareness, not judgment. Cancel one recurring expense you don't really need. 3, create a realistic September budget. 4, set up financial containers for predictable fall expenses. And 5, choose your weekly money check-in day. That's it. 5 concrete steps that will reset your money routine and set you up for a confident fall. If today's episode hit home for you, I'd love for you to share it with a friend who also needs a post-summer money reset. And make sure you're subscribed because next week's fall financial checkup is going to give your budget the fresh start it needs to carry you through the end of the year. Remember, you don't need perfection. You just need a reset. And you, my friend, are one conversation, one episode closer to true financial freedom. I'll see you next time.